for as many times I've heard that intro, I still get fired up. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Kiorkof, as I'm sure you're aware, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the second day we'll be live streaming in a row, huh? We don't see this often, do we? But you guys asked for it. There were many of you here last night, and the questions were flowing. The drafts were happening via Underdog Fantasy, so I decided let's run it back. Let's go ahead and let's have ourselves another live stream here. Welcome, first and foremost. Thank you guys for showing up. For those of you who have already been waiting so kindly, hitting the like button down below, greatly appreciate that. The entire objective for today, answer as many questions as I possibly can, while also, kind of teach you guys a thing or two here or there, if we possibly can. Of course, conduct a couple live drafts via Underdog Fantasy, as we'll do that together, so that you guys are far more prepared for your upcoming drafts, if you still have any. For those of you who are going to ask me, week one questions already, listen, I had like 2 questions yesterday in regards to, hey, who am I starting week one? Just because of that question alone, I had to look at the schedule for week one, because I was like, okay, let's, I know it's still draft season, but I gotta start sharpening up for week one, because it's not too far away. I mean, that Thursday night football game from the Chiefs and the Lions is literally, what is it, 10 days away? Man, I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Okay, so anyway, welcome, guys. I did see a couple questions while I was kind of setting up everything for the stream. One of them in regards to Jonathan Taylor. So Nick, earlier in the stream before it even went live, someone said Double Helix. That is correct. Exactly. Double Helix, the song that is the Andrew Kiorkof kind of theme song, I'd say, for the channel. Nick was saying, can you talk a little bit about Jonathan Taylor? Thoughts on the trade? What are the ideal outcomes of the entire situation? If a trade doesn't happen before tomorrow's deadline, what can we anticipate? If a trade does not happen, in which a team, whether it is Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys, somebody of that nature, if no one trades for Jonathan Taylor, he is going to probably be placed on the PUP list, physically unable to perform, because the chances are he's going to say, yeah, my ankle's injured, and they're going to say, well, it's primarily because you don't want to play football for us. So they'll just put him on the PUP and then kind of leave it there. So at that point, the PUP list makes him miss the first 4 weeks of the season, if I'm not mistaken, which would be an absolute disaster for fantasy purposes if you've already gone ahead and drafted him. The hope is that he does get traded. He gets what he wants and he can get out of there, find himself a massive bag, whether it is in one of those 3 overall franchises that I mentioned earlier. Time will tell. Obviously, there is reports looming that the Bears are out on the entire conversation, even though they were one of the teams that were interested immediately, because they have so much cap space available that they have not utilized. So I just wanted to address that. My biggest fear as of right now is, of course, drafting or already having Jonathan Taylor. The follow-up question to that someone else also mentioned, let me find the name. Richie was saying, all right, if in fact Jonathan Taylor is not a part of the Colts and he gets put on the PUP or gets traded, like, who is the next man up in that backfield? The assumption would probably be we're leaning in the direction of, hey, it's going to be Deion Jackson to begin with, Evan Hull, until we see Zach Moss healthy. I know he broke his arm during the preseason, so there is a potential, or at training camp specifically, there is a chance that going into the season, it'll be Deion Jackson that leads the pack, and then after him, Evan Hull, the rookie running back. But then eventually it will be Zach Moss to be the primary early down back. That being said, I don't think I can objectively trust a singular back out of this backfield to be like super fantasy relevant. It'll probably be a 3-headed monster unless one of these guys proves themselves to be significantly better than the other. We know Deion Jackson, specifically last year with Matt Ryan under center, can catch a lot of balls out of the backfield and be effective. Zach Moss, especially late last season, like against the Houston Texans week 18, had himself a monster game. So there are chances for these guys to, in spots, be relevant, but ultimately, are they going to be enough to kind of justify selecting him later in your drafts and you can start him every single week? It's probably unlikely, even though we want that to be the case. I don't think there's enough talent in that backfield to be able to say, hey, one guy's going to be enough to figure it all out. Let's see here. All right, let's see what else we have in the chat. Javier says, is Kelsey at number 5 out of 12 a reach? I would say it's a reach. Yeah, personally. I mean, I feel really comfortable taking one of the top 4 wide receivers, whether it be Jefferson, Chase, Kupp, or Hill, or McCaffrey ahead of Kelsey. So at 5, yeah, I would say it's a bit premature. there is a conversation to be had. Like perhaps your league has a tight end premium. Instead of getting a half a point per reception, the tight end position gets a full point per reception. At that point, he's probably a top 3 pick in comparison. But yeah, in a normal league where there's no tight end premium, I think that is a premature selection in comparison to, one of the other fine options within that top 5. Let's see here. Morgan says, it's draft week, Andrew. Let's get it. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I'm just hoping, considering the preseason's kind of died out now, there's no more injuries, there's no more craziness. Hopefully a couple trades occur, moving some players over. Hopefully, I know someone asked earlier in the chat, I don't remember exactly where it went, but someone was asking like, hey, can you rank the remaining free agent backs? Like who's more likely between Kareem Hunt and Leonard Fournette to get signed? The last time I heard about Leonard Fournette working out with a team was the New England Patriots. They obviously signed Ezekiel Elliott. Kareem Hunt, the last time I heard about him working out with a team was with the Minnesota Vikings. So they're still potentially void of another running back in that rotation if they're looking for one. But that was many weeks ago. So there is a chance that they're just not interested in Kareem Hunt, or they couldn't kind of come to an agreement upon the contract and that kind of stuff. So those 2 running backs, I'm expecting for them to sit out for the beginning of the season. If in fact an injury takes place to a contending team, then they would be picked up and then kind of find fantasy value then, which is a little tricky because that makes them like a waiver wire players in the future. But something that if you're playing in a deeper league, you have a lot of bench spots. Technically, you could have them rostered, but it probably doesn't serve you best going into the season with those kind of options, especially if they're not on a roster. All right, let's see here. We saw a couple super chats come in. I'll get to them in just a moment. Irrelevant Me was asking, Higgins or Najee Harris rest of the season? What's the scoring format? Irrelevant. Any dynasty tips? Ben, I'm going to be totally honest. I do not really do much dynasty content at all. I would probably say if I was to put a percentage on the dynasty content that I provide, it is 1%. So, and that is literally this question as we currently speak about dynasty. Otherwise, I am typically just redraft. And we'll obviously do a couple best ball drafts here and there via Underdog Fantasy. But yeah, I'd be lying to you to tell you if I could give you tips on dynasty. There are people that are content creators that are in this industry that are significantly more equipped to answer your kind of questions and give you tips on startups and stuff like that outside of me. So there are wonderful people in this industry. So go find them, and hopefully they can lead you to a championship in a dynasty league. I mean, obviously the dynasty format, you want to build a young team. I mean, you could go for that idea of, hey, I'm going to mortgage the whole team and I'm just going to pick a bunch of old players, guys that are like Derrick Henrys and older guys, and just pick, a stud roster that can just win right now. And then I'm going to have to rebuild my team for the next 5 years. That is just a disaster if in fact it kind of blows up in your face and you're not able to win immediately. But typically you want a younger team. All right. We had a question come in from Matthew Chung. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat coming in. Matthew Chung says, I drafted Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the same team. Should I try to get rid of Waddle for Amari Cooper? No. Or should I stick with them? Yeah, you should stick with them both. I understand that there's an implied risk with having both of the Miami receivers within one team, because if in fact Tua gets injured, then Mike White is going to have to step up as the backup. But we witnessed last season, even when Tua went down, and whether it was Skylar Thompson, it was a little bit more of a tricky situation because he's not as equipped as to being a pocket passer like this organization specifically needs based on the scheme that they're running, a lot of RPO, but really getting the ball out of their hands quickly. Teddy Bridgewater was really good with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. So I think Mike White, who has shown himself kind of stints of time with the Jets last season that he can be decent, can justify, even if something is to happen at quarterback, you probably still will find pretty decent value. If in fact you were going to tell me, hey, Andrew, I have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua, it would scare me. But even at that point, they're such high upside players in fantasy, it doesn't bother me. Now, if you told me, hey, I have Kenny Pickett, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens, then I would say, okay, listen, the ceiling isn't as high, so the implied risk is, is already kind of baked in there, and it's not looking great. Thank you for the question, Matthew. I know you had a follow-up question. You said you also drafted Jalen Waddle. Okay, okay, yeah. So we're good. Thank you, Matthew. I know you sent him both. I saw the first one. I just wanted to go ahead, get, everything established in regards to all the Indianapolis Colts information, because again, yes, the trade, kind of the deadline for Jonathan Taylor will be tomorrow as to whether or not he's getting put on that physically unable to perform list. Tyler Dean says, is $21 too much for Lockett plus Ayuk in a keeper league? Is $21 too much? I'm going to be totally honest. In an auction draft, I'm not the guy either. You will begin to realize, guys, Andrew is just specifically looking for redraft formats, and that is what my bread and butter is. If you're asking me how much Tyler Lockett should be going to in an auction draft, I haven't done an auction draft in 10 years. I keep saying this. Yet you guys keep asking me about auction drafts. I guess maybe one of these days we have to do one, but man, they take forever. There's so much time and effort into that. And just like trying to like outbid and know, hey, should I spend $1 on this guy, or how much can I utilize on this specific position and or this one comparatively, or how much of my allocated overall fab do I want to utilize? So if you're asking me, is $21 too much for Tyler Lockett and Ayuk? I mean, it's both players, and to be totally honest, they're both solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3s. If you're splitting it and it's $10.50 a pop, like, I don't mind that. That's fine. But then again, I don't know really anything about that, so we'll just keep it moving. Colin Smith sends in a question. Thank you very much, Colin. I appreciate it. Says, in a 12-team league in a full PPR scoring format, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. I have Anthony Richardson, I have Hall, I have Monty, I have Chase, I have Olave, I have Andrews, I have Mike Williams, Jordan Addison, Charbonnet, Elijah Moore, Penny, Bigsby, Bateman, Laporta, moves, ? Okay, so first and foremost, what did you end up doing? You went Chase in the first, you got Olave, and then you eventually got Andrews. So that's your first 3 rounds. That's pretty good. And then you wanted to avoid quarterback. You went after Anthony Richardson eventually, but were able to lock down guys like Hall, Williams, Montgomery, which I like a lot, Addison, which I like a lot, Charbonnet, which is a good handcuff that has upside. Laporta is a good backup tight end for Andrews. You're not going to need him, but if Laporta starts playing well, you can trade him and utilize him as a potential kind of trade fodder to improve another position if you find an injury later on within the season. Overall, I think you kind of set up your base. The entire question is Anthony Richardson going to be good enough to sustain your team? I think you'll be at an okay spot, considering he has the easiest strength of schedule at the quarterback position in terms of passing statistics allowed, based on both numbers that defenses allowed to opposing quarterbacks last season and the expected coverage grades of opposing defenses this season. I think Anthony Richardson should be in a better position. Even with that, it doesn't matter. He's going to gather all of his yards on the ground. And without Jonathan Taylor back there potentially, he'll probably get majority, if not all, of the goal line work, similar to the way that the current head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, again, he was the former offensive coordinator of the Eagles, Shane Steichen. They used Jalen Hurts a lot down in the red zone, so they'll probably go ahead and do the same thing with AR-15 and get him in the right spot. So, I mean, overall, you've set up yourself with a really strong, base of players. That quarterback's the only thing that kind of is the coin toss. If he hits, he hits, and your team is off and away. Let's see here. What do you think about keeper leagues? I mean, I've played in a keeper league a long time. I mean, geez, guys. Keeper leagues, it depends. I feel like if you're playing in a keeper league, I only like keeper leagues if, in fact, once you end up keeping the player, their overall value is like 3 rounds after or earlier than when you drafted them the year before. For example, if I pick someone in the 6th round and I'm going to keep them the following year, they have to be a 3rd round keeper. Like, I don't want to be in a league where someone can keep Justin Jefferson as a 12th round pick every season henceforth. Like, it has to be very fine tuned, just so teams don't get completely stacked up with monsters, but it is what it is. Okay, let's see here. I know someone earlier in the chat, it just reminded me because Colin had Breece Hall. Someone said that they drafted Breece Hall in the 6th round in a 14-team league. And my number one thought process immediately, before I even clicked live on the stream, was how do people even, like, how does that happen? Was it a 2 QB league? Like, what's going on? Okay, let's see here. Jonathan Blum in the chat says, is it bad if I have Kupp and Akers on the same team? No, I don't think it's a bad idea. Again, both of them are contingent on, well, actually, Cam Akers produced his best games last season without Matthew Stafford in the lineup. So I wouldn't say that he is, specifically contingent on, Stafford being present. I think Kupp is more in line with that overall thought process. But then again, every one of these stud wide receivers are contingent on having their quarterback in the lineup. Like, Justin Jefferson is not as good if he's playing with the backup quarterback in comparison to playing with Kirk Cousins. CeeDee Lamb last season proved that, right? CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott last year, averaging 16.1 half PPR fantasy points per game. And then with Cooper Rush, he's averaging 11.5 fantasy points per game. It's a 5-point difference just off of just a slight quarterback change. Makes the world's difference for fantasy purposes, of course. Donnie Bravo says, Gibbs/Ridley or Hurts/Allen in my 3rd. Ooh, it depends how you started your first 2 rounds. If in fact your first 2 rounds are clean to the extent of like, okay, if I start a double wide receiver in my first 2 rounds and I'm in the third and I'm thinking, okay, well, Gibbs is going to be available to me, I don't mind running, that overall option. If you're specifically thinking, okay, I'm going to go for Gibbs now, and in the fourth or fifth, I'll go ahead and I'll address potentially Justin Fields if he falls to me, or Joe Burrow. If you're not going to address those quarterbacks there, then at that point, I'd take one of those stud guys that are capable of getting to that 400 plus range, because really the positional advantage you have there with one of the top 3 quarterbacks is significant. Let's see here. Dan says, okay, that's a different. Okay, you were talking to somebody else. Let's see here. Giggity Goo 52. What a name, huh? Sends in a super chat. Thank you very much. Says, I got one bench spot. Drop Algier or Charbonnet. I would drop Tyler Algier. I would keep Zach Charbonnet. Tyler Algier is going to get probably similar numbers overall to Zach Charbonnet. I think that the only primary difference is that Charbonnet will be utilized in the receiving game comparatively. So I'll take Charbonnet at this moment. Thank you. And really, there is a difference too, right? When Algier is the pre-established running back from the year before, who was a later round draft pick, and then now the organization goes out and makes a first round 8th overall pick on Bijan Robinson, the implied assumption is that Bijan Robinson is going to automatically be the starting running back. In comparison to, hey, we spent a 2nd round pick in 2022 to bring in Kenneth Walker, and then we went and used this 2nd round pick in 2023 to bring in Charbonnet. The implied overall assumption there is that, hey, we're bringing in this running back to immediately utilize him once again, because even though we made this investment the year prior, it's not enough to do everything we want out of the backfield. Let's see here. Bale Kim sends in a question, says, what are your thoughts on Najee Harris? Honestly, I'm hearing mixed things. I am too. Okay, so here's the thing. As of this current moment in time, the assumption with that backfield is that Jaylen Warren has 3rd down lockdown, and that he is going to be the exclusive 3rd down back. And I said this during my tier list video the other day. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are like Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler from a couple years ago, like I'd say back in 2018. So that is the kind of vibes I'm getting from this backfield. It doesn't mean that Najee Harris in that overall situation can't be relevant, because similar to the way that Melvin Gordon was, he can still find all of the goal line work, all of the rushing work, and sprinkles of the receiving game. And if this is an offense that has a better offensive line, better quarterback play, better defense because they're healthy, they should all be succeeding. But Jaylen Warren in his own right can be of value. I think people look at Najee Harris and think, man, he's had a lot of touches in the last 2 years. But again, he's obviously had a lot of touches at Alabama, but people think he's going to just kind of shrivel up and get injured quickly. I understand Jaylen Warren has that kind of like upside of being, hey, I'm not only a handcuff, but I could also be a 3rd down back that could be relevant, that could take touches, and I'm highly effective in those roles. At this moment, again, I still see Najee Harris as a low-end RB1, even with all of that implied risk that surrounds him with Jaylen Warren getting more momentum out of the backfield and more utilization. Prohibit says, who's the wide receivers to have in Kansas City besides Kelsey? Do I drop Sky Moore? Ross or A-Chain for a bench spot? Do I drop Sky Moore, Rice, or A-Chain for a bench spot? What do you mean? Why would you? Okay, so like if you're saying, hey, Andrew, which of those 3 would I be willing to drop? I would drop Rice. I'd rather have A-Chain and I'd rather have Sky Moore, because I'm expecting Sky Moore to be the starter. I know they're assuming that Kadarius Toney will be ready for week 1. We're going to hope and see. We'll see. But, and then A-Chain is just kind of like that rookie running back that I'm willing to take the gamble on, that I'm going to leave at the end of my bench. If he ends up panning out, so be it. If he doesn't, we'll keep it moving. Okay, let's see here. Mr. TD says, Ben has a question for you. Okay, where's Ben? I love how Mr. TD is like directing me as to who has questions. Let's see, where's Ben at? Where is Ben's question? I'm seeing a lot of the word bench. There it is. Ben Morgan says, Andrew, can you answer? Okay. All right, dude. Okay. All right. I did not expect that to be the question. Good one. Actually, good one. It was a good one. All right. So just a couple heads up. In about, I would say 10 minutes, we're going to hop into an underdog draft. For those of you guys who have not yet already, again, as of this current moment in time, like I say in every single video, If you haven't yet, you can travel down to the description, head on over to Underdog Fantasy, use code Andrew, make that first time deposit minimum of $10. Not only will you get the first time deposit match, so if you deposit 10, you'll get 10. You deposit 50, you'll get 50. It's up to 100 in that overall category. You'll get the deposit match. You'll be able to draft with us tonight. You'll additionally be able to get my 2023 fantasy football draft guide and updated rankings for the draft, whether it is by position, by tier, half PPR, full PPR, 4-point per passing touchdown, 6-point per passing touchdown. All of that included, on top of weekly rankings sent from my email to yours directly. Keep an eye on the spam folder every single Sunday morning for weeks 1 through 18. Again, link is down in the description. We'll get there in a moment. Again, if you're wondering whether you're eligible to potentially play via Underdog Fantasy, the map on the left side of the screen determines your eligibility. Again, you must be 18 or older to participate in an eligible state. So if you are eligible, and this is something that interests you and you want to draft with us tonight, be sure to go ahead, travel down to the description, and sign up before we get into drafting. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see here. We had a couple more questions that came in. Era had a question. He said, Era said, in a 12-man PPR league, assuming the first 8 picks are Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, Jamar Chase, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, and Bijan Robinson, who would you take at 9 and hope for the second round? Okay, so let's see here. It's a full PPR league. I'm going to go pull out my rankings. And then we're going to start eliminating some of the names that you kind of. All right, so let's go full PPR. Okay, flex rankings. So you said no JJ McCaffrey, Chase, Eckler, Hill, Kupp, Bijan. Okay, so and then Kelce, boom, Bijan's gone. I would take Stephon Diggs. That would be my pick there at 8. I would take Stephon Diggs, and my hope would be that in the second round, if someone of the caliber of Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, any of those running backs was going to fall to me, beautiful, I'll take it. Otherwise, I would hope if I'm going to start a double wide receiver kind of run, it would be an Amon-Ra St. Brown or a Garrett Wilson that falls to me in the second round. That would be my hope. But yes, I would take Stephon Diggs there at 8 in a full PPR after all those guys you mentioned are gone. I would hope for a running back to fall to me in the second round like Saquon or Chubb or Pollard. If not, we'll roll with the Garrett Wilson kind of ride there. Thank you. All right. After Era's question, we had AM. AM says, planting the flag on Dotson this year. Ceiling, where do you see him? Love the channel. Salute. Thank you very much, AM. I appreciate that. So here's the thing about Dotson's overall potential upside. The quarterback play is purely going to determine set upside. On top of that, the question of whether or not Terry McLaurin is going to be fully active and ready to go is another question. Turf toe is no joke, especially when we're talking about wide receivers. I mean, wide receivers, running backs, typically, if I'm trying to remember the last time someone's dealt with turf toe, if it is a grade 1 injury, he should be ready to go week 1, which will certainly help Dotson. I think if Dotson's the number 1 receiver on the field, he will get more targets, but he'll also see number 1 coverage. We don't want that for Dotson's potential. We want purely, especially considering Curtis Samuels had himself a lot of injuries this offseason already, we want Dotson to be the number 2, pull number 2 coverage, and in that, have a lot of success. So I'm hoping Terry McLaurin's healthy, and even with that, it's just a matter of can the quarterback somehow, elevate his game enough to serve 2 wide receivers, or at least 1 in the case of Dotson. I think his overall potential of play, based on what he's able to do last year, assuming there's a regression of touchdowns, I'm hoping, I'm hoping like 950 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's what I'm hoping for. Especially at where he's going. If he does anything more than that, my goodness, we're gonna be real happy. We're gonna be real happy to say the least. All right, so thank you, AM. I appreciate it. Mr. Tres 05, thank you very much. Nice to see you. Says, my boy, I hope all is well. Are you on the Mims Jr. train, as in Marvin Mims for the Denver Broncos? Listen, I'm beginning to buy in slowly. Here's the thought process, right? I don't trust Russell Wilson, but at least Russell Wilson can be effective enough to make a wide receiver, at least one of them, relevant, right? The fact of the matter is, Sean Payton spent a second-round pick, despite having Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton on roster during the 2023 NFL Draft, on Marvin Mims. The fact that he is comfortable making that selection, coming into this organization and trying to lead them to success, means that he really likes Marvin Mims and what he can provide to the team. The fact that they have already lost Tim Patrick to a season-ending injury. Jerry Jeudy obviously was carted off with that hamstring injury, couldn't make him miss a significant amount of time. And the fact that Cortland Sutton has found inconsistencies within this offense, yes, there is a conversation to be had about Marvin Mims being, in the conversation of, I'm not going to say the number one receiving option in this offense because I think that'll be Courtland Sutton to begin with until Judy returns, but he could very easily supplant Courtland Sutton as that number 2 once Jerry Judy returns. And it could have, pretty good upside in that regard. Mason Miller in the chat was saying, I live in Japan. Can I play Underdog? What? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. You live in Japan, Mason? What time is it over there, buddy? Let's see here. Dram in the chat was saying, can you let me know where you think my squad is lacking? I have Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Josh Jacobs, Alexander Madison, David Montgomery, Tyler Lockett, AJ Dillon, David Njoku, and Brandon Cooks. I would say that your biggest lack is in your wide receiver depth, probably. Like, I don't... Like, after you have Jacobs, Madison, David Montgomery, I don't know if you need AJ Dillon there. You probably... I mean, I don't know who was available in your draft. I don't know who was available on the board. I don't even know what your scoring format is, right? But I would say that your number 3 wide receiver being Brandon Cooks, it could end up panning out if Brandon Cooks is back to his normal self of 1,000 receiving yards. And it's definitely in the realm of possibility within this Dallas Cowboys offense. But that's probably where I would say you're lacking. Your wide receiver 3, or at least extra depth after Brandon Cooks. B4 Work says, good to see you, Andrew. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay. What time is it? Almost. Okay. A couple more questions, and then we're going to hop into this chat. And of course, we'll continue to answer questions. You doing Best Ball Mania Underdog today? We can. I mean, the only issue with Best Ball Mania is that none of you guys can participate in it. I guess if you want to watch me draft, you can, but at that point, it's not as kind of interactive ultimately. Nathan J sent in a question. Nathan says, yo, Andrew, how you feeling about my team? I'm in a 10-team league, non-PPR. Okay, so it's a standard format. We have Burrow. We have Chase. I like the stack there. Devonta Smith, Scary Terry. Okay, great. Courtland Sutton, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore. Wow, we got a lot of wide receiver depth. Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Montgomery, AJ Dillon, P. Ryan, TJ Hawkinson. I have no complaints. I mean, at this point, considering your top 2 receivers, assuming this is a league in which you start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, and a quarterback and a tight end, you have a top 3 tight end, in my opinion. You have 2 top, at least, I'd say maybe 15 wide receivers. Scary Terry has the potential of being a top 24 guy if he's healthy. You have top 5 quarterback with Burrow, or top 6 at least in that range. And then you have enough depth. Your running back position has Jacobs, top 10. Breece Hall, top at least 15, 16. Montgomery, top 24. AJ Dillon has the upside of the handcuff along with Samaje Perine. I mean, at this point, I have no complaints. I think you're in a pretty good spot, especially considering it's a non-PPR league. If Chase, Devonta Smith can repeat their touchdown numbers, and so can Josh Jacobs. I think he had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. And then we know David Montgomery is going to be that goal line machine for the Lions, filling in for the one and only Jamal Williams. I think you're a pretty good spot there. Let's see here. Big Suvi was saying Julio was dealing with a turf toe for a minute back in the day, frustrating as heck. Yeah, there is a lot of examples in which turf toe really messed up players. But again, it depends on the severity, right? Grade 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's just unrecoverable. And especially if you're playing specific positions. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to preemptively get ourselves ready for a best ball draft. Again, this is a $3 buy-in. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and click on the link in the chat that I pasted right now. You can join us. We are looking for 11 other people to join. And once that fills up, I'll go ahead and stream that. Eric Bush in the chat was saying thoughts on Jerry Jeudy. It's purely going to be a matter of the extent of the injury. I don't mind grabbing him later in drafts and then throwing him on my IR and waiting for it, but that's going to be the question at this point. Alex Perez says, I just drafted on CBS. Why are your rankings so different than CBS? Why are my rankings different? Because I have different opinions? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Rankings are just opinions of expectations, right? The way that I come to my overall conclusion of what I expect a player to produce can be different than someone else, right? Like the data, the variables that I value could be different than someone else. But it's not to say that someone else's rankings are lesser or better. It's just like a matter of difference of opinion. That's probably the primary conversation there. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Justin says, what's Bijan's ceiling floor this year? Ceiling RB1. Really, I think it's in that realm. And then additionally, his I mean, in terms of numbers, we're talking about 2,000 all-purpose yards at a ceiling. We're talking about like 10 to 14 touchdowns, and then maybe 50, 65 catches ceiling. That is what we're talking about for Bijan. That's why he is the third running back coming off the board in drafts, because he has the potential. Jimmy, I'll check it out right now. Let me check my phone for Discord. So yeah, that's the primary kind of conversation there. Alrighty, we need a couple more people to hop into this draft. I'll go ahead and change the graphic on screen. Again, we're drafting via Underdog, so if you guys want to join, you can click on the link that I've already pasted. I'll once again paste it right now, just so if you're interested, you can hop on in. Jimmy, I'm checking the question right now. Let's go ahead and let's transition here. The ball's coming, don't be afraid. And I'll just sit here until we fill out the draft. We're looking for 5 others to join. Jimmy's question in the chat was, what is the difference between Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp gets significantly more opportunity. In terms of at least delivering on said opportunity as well. Like the catch rate that Cooper Kupp has demonstrated the last 2 years, I think it's been like 75 to 78% in the last 2 seasons. Like it's very rare that you'll ever find fantasy prospects that can get themselves the volume of targets that Cooper Kupp sees and then also average the fantasy points that he sees. I mean, like the last 2 years combined, all those games, when healthy, Cooper Kupp's averaging 21 fantasy points per game. Stephon Diggs is averaging, from last year, 16 fantasy points per game. It's a huge 5-point difference of statistics, and of course, the volume of opportunity that goes in that, in their direction. I mean, think about the offense in general. Outside of Cooper Kupp on the Rams, who is the next man up? Like at least on the Buffalo Bills, I can say Gabriel Davis, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook. When I talk about the Rams, like I guess I could say Tyler Higbee, and then Cam Akers. I don't know if he's not going to catch the ball much, not like James Cook is going to. So really, outside of Cooper Kupp, I guess there's like Van Jeffersons, Tutu Atwells, but I don't trust them to be viable enough to garner the targets that they need to impose on the overall upside that Cooper Kupp kind of presents. CeeDee Lamb and Garrett Wilson, what's the difference between them? What's the difference between CeeDee Lamb and Garrett Wilson? CeeDee Lamb plays in the slot for majority of the game. When you play in the slot and you're primarily going against the opposing nickel, there are going to be a lot more opportunities for you to be in mismatches if, in fact, defenses don't kind of bracket you the way that they're supposed to, especially with CeeDee Lamb. That's why when Brandon Cooks joins this team, he plays on the outside. He could pull number 1 coverage because CeeDee Lamb plays a lot of snaps from the slot, or at least runs a lot of his routes from the slot position. So that's the biggest difference. Like the Cowboys put CeeDee Lamb in positions to take advantages. I don't know if we're going to see that with Nathaniel Hackett's offense, because I haven't seen enough of their offense to be able to determine like objectively, hey, they're going to utilize him this way and try to expose him to matchups in this capacity. And in terms of like target counts, I mean, CeeDee Lamb's there, and his numbers in terms of touchdowns are continuing to grow, which is always great. We had a question that came in. Okay, we took care of that. Jordy Peasy, thank you, Jordy. I appreciate it. Jordy says, in a 12-man team, or 12-man league, full PPR, half PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown quarterback. Okay, cool. 12-man, half PPR, 6 point per QB touchdown, 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and a flex. What strategy do you recommend going with? Rex for top 3, spot 5 through 8, and 9 through 12. Okay, so here's my suggestion. If you're playing in a league where it is 6 point per passing touchdown, Patrick Mahomes should be the number 1 overall pick off the board. He's going to score 500 points in your league. The best wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, if he had an incredible year, like let's say, for example, let's kind of reference this. Justin Jefferson last season in a half PPR scoring format, let's go pull it up. Half PPR, scored 304 fantasy points overall, all 17 games, 18 weeks. Okay, 304. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes is literally going to score 500 fantasy points in a 6 point per passing touchdown league. That's 200 more points to your team in comparison. There is a significant drop-off in production at quarterback in that kind of a format. So quarterback has to be, especially the top 3 guys, in my opinion, in a 6 point per passing touchdown league, yeah, I'm almost willing to say that Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, and Burrow should be the first 4 picks. Like, it is that significant in comparison. Like Let me go look at the production. Mahomes last year had 498 points. Allen had 465 with one canceled game. Hurts had 422 while missing 2 different games. Otherwise, these guys are averaging 28, 29, 29.3 points per game. Like, it's kind of not fair. Where am I drafting? What pick am I, guys? I'm 12? All right, cool. So in a 6-point per passing touchdown format, yeah, we're probably in a spot where I'm prioritizing quarterback. And if you can't get one of the top 4 like pocket passers ish, you know, with Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, or Burrow, then you go for Justin Jefferson henceforth, and or the other available players that are the best at their position. Then in the second round, you can once again address quarterback. All right, let's get back to a couple other questions here. Let's see. Thank you, Jordy. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Timo in the chat was saying preferred PPR start: Hill, Mixon, Josh Allen, Debo, or Christian McCaffrey instead of Hill. In this scenario, Debo would be my wide receiver 1. Christian McCaffrey or Hill in a full PPR. If I'm not mistaken, I have McCaffrey ranked higher than Hill in a full PPR. I can reference my rankings right now in just a second. Am I almost on the board? No. Okay. So yeah, I have McCaffrey ahead of Hill going into this year. Debo being your wide receiver 1 is not pleasant, though. I'll tell you that much. So maybe the way you approach it should be different. Like, yeah, that's kind of rough. Maybe what are you getting instead of Mixon there? Like, when is Mixon coming off the board comparatively, and what are the available wide receivers there if you were to avoid Mixon and then add somebody else in that roster spot as your wide receiver 1? What are you typically seeing in those drafts, Timo? Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's see here. The first round is consisted of Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey, Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Robinson, Kelsey in the 7th spot, which is fine. Eckler, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Nick Chubb. Okay. So I think what I'm probably going to do is kind of some crazy stuff. Probably crazy stuff. Do I want to go double wide receiver? I kind of don't really. So what I'll do is I'll take A.J. Brown here, and I'll follow it up with, of these guys, I like Henry and I like Pollard a lot. I'll just take Pollard. That's what I'll roll with. Thank you very much. And let it ride. I'll let the draft board kind of fix itself up, and we'll see how it rolls. Is there a name or code for your draft? Link doesn't take me to any specific draft. Welcome. Do you have a Underdog account? Because if you don't have an account, perhaps maybe it takes you to sign up, and then it links you back to the chat or back to the draft that is in specific that I'm linking. Dropping Sense says, is he talking about a super flex league? Yeah, I was just talking about a 6-point per passing touchdown league in specific. That's why I was mentioning Mahomes being an early round pick. I like Bigsby as a late round pick, says in the PNW. Honestly, you're not wrong. I think that's not a bad idea either. Just in case. Because if that backfield begins to become a rotation, then in itself, there's potential. There's potential for Bigsby. How many drafts are you doing tonight? I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna play it by ear. Obviously, I want to keep the priority on answering questions, but if I can continue to do so and then just keep drafting ahead, then we'll be fine. All right, let's see here. We had a question that came in. We took care of that one. Andrew McGrady, did we take care of that? No, we haven't. Andrew McGrady, thank you very much, says, in a 12-man full PPR, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, first 5 will be Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Hill, and Eckler. I'm super high on Pollard. Do I reach for him at 6, or do I go with the safe play in Kupp? I would just take Kupp. Yeah, I would just take Kupp. I mean, look, my assumption is that, here's the thing. I don't know why people are so low on Pollard, because when I look at this backfield, there's no one taking touches from him. Literally no one. Like, there's no way you can objectively tell me with a straight face that we truly do believe guys like Malik Davis or Deuce Vaughn or what's the other running back? Is it Rico Dowdle or something? Let me go find the depth chart of this team. Rico Dowdle. Do we think that guy is taking touches from Tony Pollard on the goal line? I don't expect that to be the case. Like, Tony Pollard doesn't have to touch the ball 20 times a game to be relevant in fantasy, because McCaffrey doesn't, Eckler doesn't touch the ball 20 times a game, but what Eckler does a lot is score touchdowns, right? And that is the difference. If we find that Pollard's going to be the 18 touchdown monster this year, and he catches the ball 40 times out of the backfield, on top of still being one of the most efficient running backs in terms of a yard per carry average in the last decade of fantasy football, like, the sky is certainly the limit. That being the case, I still go with Kupp. All right, I'll hype up Pollard because I just drafted him in this league, but yeah, I'll probably still go Kupp because I think Kupp's ceiling is in a full PPR significantly higher. Bale Kim sends in another question. Thank you very much, Bale. Says, in a 10-team full PPR league, I have Mahomes, McCaffrey, Najee Harris, Higgins, Amari Cooper, Pat Freiermuth, and Lockett. My bench consists of London, Dotson, Dobbins. I like that. Gabe Davis, you put Chardonnay instead of Charbonnet. I think it's the autocorrect, but you're good, Bale. Thoughts and strengths. I mean, listen, your primary strength, of course, is the fact that you have top 3 quarterback, top 3 running back, and your depth is ridiculously good. That's your primary strengths. Like Higgins and Amari Cooper and Tyler Lockett, they're probably all wide receiver 2s. So the hope is that one of them can get into that wide receiver 1 conversation, similar to the way that Amari Cooper did last year. Or if Higgins stays fully healthy for a full season. I mean, last year, Higgins was averaging 13.5 fantasy points per game in a half PPR when healthy. In a full PPR that's only extended. And if he plays a full 16, 17 game season, he could be, with those averages, easily a wide receiver 1. So you have the upside there on top of the depth, on top of the stud, 1 or 2 players there that are going to be the pillars of your roster every single week. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I Shine, I just saw that. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you, my man. Thank you. All right. We're going to get to that in a second. Jake String says, hey, Andrew, what do you think Jonathan Taylor should be taken in account with his risk? We'll see by tomorrow. I think if I gave you an answer as to where he should be taken before tomorrow's information, because again, the expectation is that he has to be traded by tomorrow. Otherwise, they're probably going to put him on the PUP list. And if he gets placed on the PUP list, that means he misses the first 4 weeks. Then at that point, it has to be taken into consideration that 4 of the potential 14 games that you'll need him to play. So actually not even 14. So imagine if you were to draft Jonathan Taylor, not only are you going to miss him from weeks 1 through 4, you're also going to miss him on his bye week. So that means 5 of the 14 weeks that you need him to make the playoffs, you're not going to have him. So he's missing a third of your season. He has to be extremely good when he returns to be even worth the consideration. So we'll have to adjust that, and I'll go into more detail in future days once we have that information by tomorrow. iShine's question was, in a 12-man half PPR league, grade my squad. I have Christian McCaffrey, Chris Olave, Ridley, Amon. No, that's not Amon. You had 2 R's next to each other and an R next to an M, so it looked like Amon for a second. That's Aaron Jones, but it was spelled incorrectly. Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, Geno Smith, Miles Sanders, Godwin. I mean, you got the squad that I like, man. If I'm not going for an early quarterback tight end build, this is the kind of depth I love to see. Like getting McCaffrey, Aaron Jones as your 1-2, and then having Olave, Ridley, Keenan Allen as your 1-2-3 there. And then you also have Sanders as a potential flex play and Godwin. Like in a 12-team league, this roster is very few times you'll come by a team like this. I'm going to be totally honest. But then again, you did take the discount at quarterback and you did take the discount at Freiermuth. So Freiermuth probably going to... Oh, I'm on the clock. Okay, what are we doing here? Lamar just got taken in front of me and the Fields. I mean, why'd you guys do that to me? Come on, guys. That was uncalled for. That was inappropriate violence. I'm going to probably go DK Metcalf here. And then alongside DK Metcalf, I probably am going to take... let's take DK Metcalf and let's think about this. Do I want to go with another wide receiver and then just stack up on running backs later on in this draft? Or do I trust Aaron Jones enough when he comes back? I think I'd probably just stack another wide receiver on top of this and let it roll. I'm going to take Keenan Allen here, and we'll see what this team kind of looks like in a bit. All right, let me go ahead. Let's pop this back up. We're good to go. Okay, so yeah, at this point, you had another question at the end of this. So you have the Eagles defense, you have Goff, you have Rondale Moore, you have Chuba Hubbard, you have Younghoe Koo, and you also have Hunter Henry. Yeah, look, at this point, the depth that your team has is ridiculous. If Geno Smith is as good as he was last year and he gets up, he puts up 300 fantasy points similar to the way he did last year, he'll probably finish as like QB 12 or somewhere in that range. So, I mean, as long as the rest of your team stays healthy, they're going to certainly be able to carry because you have so much high upside depth there. Okay, we had a question from Lavish. Says separate 12-team full PPR drafts. I have 4 picks. I have 1, 4, and 7. 12-team full PPR draft. I have picks 1, 4, and 7. Which is the best for a non-RB draft? Does the draft pattern of others affect this choice? I mean, if you're going 1, 4, and if you have picks 1, 4, and 7, you take Justin Jefferson 1, you take Kupp or Tyreek Hill at 4, and then at 7, if you're just avoiding running back altogether, you take Kelsey if he's there. Otherwise, you take Diggs. Like, is that what you're asking? If you can clarify that I'm answering kind of what you're scheming up here, because once you do that, that'll kind of give me an understanding as to what is going on. What does that say? Man, you love DK this year? LOL. Listen, if I can get DK at the end of the 3rd, pretty much a 4th round pick, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? The problem is, you know what his ADP sits at? I'm not even joking. Like, it's nuts. I'll even pull it up on screen right now. DK's ADP, where is it? Where's Metcalf? 29 point. Damn, that's gone down. Why did that go down? Well, actually, no. It didn't. No, that's about right. Pick 30. The fact that I can get him where I did at 36 when he goes here, thank you very much. I'll take it. That's a discount that I'll take any day of the week. But then again, I've seen him get selected here. I've seen him get selected at 28, 29. I mean, that's where he was. Never mind. What am I talking about? His ADP was 29.5. That's where I've seen him get picked. If I'm able to get him the 4th practically, hey, I'm taking the chance. I'll take the advantage. Listen, the other day I said, okay, specifically, and I know you guys you want to roast me about it because I said, don't take DK Metcalf. What I said was, I'm going to cheat. It's not that I don't like DK Metcalf. It's that I like Tyler Lockett more, okay, because of where you can get him in drafts, okay? So you can roast me all you want, but you know what I said. The words are there. The film is there. You can reference back to it. You guys are the greatest. I know it. You guys got to keep me honest, but I'm telling you, I'm honest. I'll take him, but it's got to be at a discount. How do you feel about Kupp as the 8th pick? I mean, in a full PPR especially, I love it. In a half PPR, it's just as good, honestly. If you're able to get that much of a discount on Kupp, when I honestly do believe he's a top 5 player this year, healthy and at full capacity. All right, so I'm looking for Lavish. In separate leagues, I apologize. In separate leagues. So for separate league, so you have 3 separate leagues, are all full PPR, 12 teams. Got it. Now it makes sense, Lavish. So which is the best for no RB draft? Which pick, 1, 4, or 7? I mean, well, I'm looking at this draft board that we have on screen, and I'm looking at myself. Is Justin Jefferson into Olave into Josh Allen a pretty good 0 RB start? I think so. That's a pretty solid build on this left side. The fact that he doubled into running backs here, again, it's not out of, I mean, purely it is out of necessity, but he didn't have to go double RB here. He could have went Aaron Jones and then something else here. Potentially could have went like with tight end or another receiver. Just depends on how many wide receivers you can specifically start. But ultimately, the number 1 spot seems like it's pretty strong to go double wide receiver and then quarterback in comparison to number 4 and or 7 comparatively. I mean, 7, if you get Kelsey, you don't have to take a running back here. You could just go Kelsey, wide receiver, and then in the 4th, go quarterback, and then running back in the 5th, and then kind of roll it there. Hopefully that answers your question, Lavish. Thank you. Let's see here. Let me scroll down the chat. Jackson in the chat. You know what? That's a great question. I'm actually curious. I'm going to start a poll. Let's see here. How do we make a poll here? Participants? No. Pop out chat? No. Here we go. Engage your audience. Start a poll. There was a question, okay? The question was Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts? I'm actually curious because you guys know my answer, right? I'm just curious as to what you guys think. I'm going to make a poll for it. Who scores more points in 2023? All right. Ask the community. Let's see what you guys end up coming up with here. Thank you. All right. We're almost up for our next round selection. C. Banger sent in a question. C. Banger, thank you very much. He says, in a 10-team 2QB league, PPR format, thoughts? I just drafted at the 7th overall spot. I have Mahomes. I have Watson as my 1 and 2 quarterbacks. Fantastic. We love to see that. My running backs are Chubb, Madison, Sanders, and Dobbins. Okay, we're really good there as well. Obviously, we're really hoping that Madison and Sanders are going to have the unimpeded volume of opportunity, and that Chuba Hubbard and someone like Ty Chandler aren't going to impede on that overall receiving work, which I don't expect them to. I know Pierre Strong got traded to the Cleveland Browns earlier today in exchange for an offensive lineman. I don't see Pierre Strong as a receiving back either, so there is a lot of upside for Chubb there. If they want to involve him there, then you have AJ Brown and Waddle and Debo and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you have Freiermuth and Laporta. I mean, that's a pretty solid team to say the least. I mean, yeah, pretty solid team to say the least. Am I on the? Oh, I am on the clock. Nice. All right. So is TJ Hawkinson gone? Damn, you guys just gutted all of those players, man. That was fast. All right, so at this point, considering what I like to do, Jerry Jeudy, McLaurin, we have 2 injured players available there. Quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson. Okay, so right now, I need a running back. Who do I want? I want David Montgomery. That's what I'll take. So then to follow up with David Montgomery, it's a matter of who do I want to roll with after. Do I want a tight end or do I want to wait on quarterback? I don't really want to wait on quarterback. I'll take Deshaun Watson here, and I'll let the draft go backwards. Okay. I'm kind of in the way of my picks, which I can move over a little bit, but ultimately I'm still going to cut off my own picks. So I'll just move over so you guys can see the rest of the draft, at least in some sort of capacity. Apologies if I'm in the way. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Banger, the fact that you have such an advantage at QB and then you still have ridiculous running back and wide receiver depth, I mean, that is expected in a 10-team league, but I mean, you locked in some really good players. Let's put it at that for right now. Let me scroll back down. Let's see here. Francesco says, I'm drafting from 3, starting with 0 wide receivers. Feels so sketch. Yeah, it does. You can't do that. If you're at the number 3 pick and you go RB QB or RB QB or RB tight end, and you don't have a quarterback, or sorry, you don't have a wide receiver till round 4. Like round 4 wide receivers, like I guess you can survive with them as your wide receiver 1, but you're gonna have to hit on a guy that jumps into that top 12 conversation. Now, it's not impossible. In fact, when you compare running backs to wide receivers over the course like the last 5 years, there are more instances of wide receivers being a wide receiver 2 in the season prior than jumping into the wide receiver 1 conversation the following year in comparison to running backs. Typically, the running back conversation is, hey, I was an RB1, and then now I'm an RB2 because I've regressed. Zeke, Dalvin Cooks, stuff like that we've witnessed over the last couple of years. So really, there are probably guys within this range, around 4, 5, 6, that will be a wide receiver 1 by the end of the season. Who are they? I mean, usually they're just coin tosses, right? Like Amari Cooper last year was not even drafted in this range. He was drafted in the 8th round last season and became a top 12 player, right? So like sometimes it's unpredictable. Other times it's, hey, which teams throw the ball to their receivers the most? Which teams lead the league in passing attempts? Which teams have done that consistently year over year? Which teams has no target competition in comparison? You can take in variables like that and then try to dwindle it down to players that are more likely to observe the uptick in overall production and potential, but it's still tough. So we have Josh Allen at 59% and Jalen Hurts at 41% as of this moment in time. Thank you for those of you who voted, the 107 of you. I appreciate that. While you guys are obviously clicking the vote button and getting that done, if you guys could do me a solid, click the like button down below. It's super, I mean, it is extremely vital to the continuous growth of this channel. I greatly appreciate it if you guys could do that for me. Thank you for the support. Xbox turn off. That is a really good name, especially if someone's playing me on speakers and then they have the Xbox on in the back. I use your code on Underdog, and I'm about to do my first best ball draft. Cheers. Well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Why don't you move to the other side? I mean, I can move to the other side. I just feel like I'm going to cover up more teams. So I can do that. Whoop. I'll slide over here. I mean, I'm going to objectively cover up more teams. You know what I mean? Like if you guys want to look at what I've picked so far, again, you guys know how much I love Montgomery. Otherwise, I've taken Pollard early, so I've established my RB1. I've taken 3 stud wide receivers. The tight ends that were available for me in the the what was it, the sixth round, excuse me, was Kyle Pitts. At that point, I'm just gonna wait. I'd rather go for guys like Njoku, Freiermuth, Higbee, Okonkwo, and go from there instead of just having to punt my quarterback position comparatively. Yeah, but I'm gonna move back. I'll move here. So I just covered 2 teams up. Huh? How about that? Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we had a couple more questions that came in. I'm gonna end the poll. Actually, there was 124 votes. I appreciate it. We got over 100 likes. Thank you, guys. That's greatly appreciated. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from iShine. Again, iShine, thank you. This is a 10-team league, full PPR. I pick 4th. I have Chase. I have Gibbs. I have Waddle. I have Stevenson. I have Hawkinson. I have Montgomery. I have Khalil Herbert. I have Dotson. I have Marquise Brown. I have, Marquise Brown's going to be sketchy, guys. I'm going to be totally honest. I'll talk about it in a moment before I go off on a tangent. Sutton, Roshan Johnson, Eagles. I have Josh Allen, most. Okay, so you're good to go. I mean, this is a squad. Allen, Chase, Gibbs, Waddle, Montgomery, Hawkinson, Stevenson. Yeah, I mean, you got a squad. There's nothing. There's no 2 ways about it. You got a squad there, to say the very least. Mark K in the chat was saying, "What is a good first pick with the 4th pick in a half PPR? Is it Kupp or Eckler?" I think it depends on how you want to build your team. I think both of them are certainly going to be relevant in fantasy. Is one going to potentially score higher than the other? I think Kupp has the higher upside in a half PPR. That being said, Kupp also has the higher potential of risk considering the hamstring injury that has recently taken place with him and the quarterback, potential for injury, considering the injury history that revolves around Matthew Stafford. But at this moment, like if I'm looking at both these options, in my current half PPR rankings, I have Kupp at 4, Tyreek Hill at 5, Austin Eckler at 6. So I would take Kupp there. Let's see here. And the way that drafts are going, I mean, look, you guys know your leagues better than I do. You know who in your leagues are going to be going full blown, I'm drafting all the running backs in the world, right? It's like you have an indication as to kind of what to expect. So if you're in your league thinking, hey, I can take a wide receiver early and I'll still be able to benefit from getting running back depth later on, I can make this pick, then you go for it. But if you're like, hey, if I don't take a running back at 1.04, every single one of the top 15 running backs are going to be gone by the time it comes back around. Even at that point, I'm like, hey, if there's going to be a positional run, let it happen. I'll wait for David Montgomery and Miles Sanders. Like, I'm not afraid of taking that wide receiver early. Let's see here. Michael Wilson is the best Cardinals wide receiver. Jesus, you're probably not wrong. Eventually, by the end of the year, you might not be wrong. But yeah, the fact that they cut Colt McCoy, they traded for Josh Dobbs, the fact that Josh Dobbs has only been on the team for a couple days now, and he's going to be the assumed starter for week 1. Here comes the Cardinals trying to get the USC quarterback. Am I wrong? Like, it's kind of set up for, they're going to probably lose a bunch of games this year. Yeah, so that's the issue. It's that we expect, because Kyler Murray was put on the physically unable to, I'm on the clock. Kyler Murray was put on the PUP today, so that means he's going to miss a significant amount of time. And then additionally, there is James Conner's available? What? Guys, what are we doing? All right. Thank you very much, James Conner. Yeah, okay, whatever. Let's do it. Evan Ingram, don't like it. Don't like that. Okay, we'll take Zay Flowers. We'll keep moving. Thank you. The assumption is that if Joshua Dobbs is going to start for the first 4 weeks minimum, and then if Kyler even misses more time henceforth after, Marquise Hollywood-Brown is going to be at a pretty severe disadvantage, just purely off of the fact that he's playing with a quarterback that is a lesser player than a lot of others. Okay, just to kind of give you an update on the squad, we got Deshaun Watson, we got Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, James Conner, along with AJ Brown. Why can't I scroll on this list? Oh, it scrolled on my screen, but because I've cut it off at the bottom, sorry. Maybe I can. Hey, maybe I'll just do it this way. I'm an idiot. Here we go. There's the squad. A lot of wide receiver attention there. I've punted on. What's the name? Tight end. I was like, what is the word I'm looking for, guys? Goodness. Okay. There was a couple more questions that came in. I want to address them really quickly. We had one from GK. Thank you very much. Can you rate my team? So far, we have a 0 running back strat and a 14-team full PPR. 3rd round reversal. I love the 3rd round reversal. Beautiful. Chef's kiss or Jeff's kiss, whichever you want to call it. Absolutely perfect, especially in a 14-team league. That is absolutely necessary. You started with Kelsey at the 1.03. You had Josh Allen at 2.12. You had Devonta Smith at 312. Then you have Damian Pierce at 4. Okay, what the heck is this? Kelsey, Allen, Smith, Pierce, Lockett, Montgomery. I mean, in terms of what this format is, that's kind of what I mean, honestly, I'll take it. Considering the format of a third round reversal, full PPR 14 team league where you wait on running backs, I mean, that's it's as advertised. You're going to get guys that are undervalued. I mean, Damian Pierce is probably going to touch the ball 18 times a game this year. Montgomery's going to be the goal line back of that squad and probably touch the ball somewhere to 14 to 15 times a game, which is what we want. And you're good to go. I mean, I have no problem with this. I think the main priority question is Devonta Smith going to have as much touchdown upside as he's had in the past? Same thing with Tyler Lockett. There was like a 7-game streak last season where Tyler Lockett scored a touchdown every single game. If they can continue those numbers, you're in a perfect spot. If they don't, that's wherein lies the risk for fantasy purposes. Okay. I'm going to answer a couple more of these. Thoughts on Hollywood after Colt McCoy cut? Yeah, I'm worried. Let's just put it that way. What do you think about Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, and James Cook in a PPR this year? They are my 3 starting running backs, and I'm scared. I wouldn't be scared if I was you. I'm okay with that, actually, Cade. Listen, by taking a discounted running back, you've obviously prioritized alternative positions. And by doing so, you'll have enough advantages at those quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end positions to be able to still take the deficit at running back. But let's play out the narrative. What if Miles Sanders is just as good as he was last year? What if David Montgomery really is the Jamal Williams of this backfield? Like, you could have running backs in this conversation that, yes, you took way later and are expected to do less, but what if they're able to outproduce the consensus, hive mind per se? If they do, you're in a pretty good spot. So I'm not too afraid of it. I think you've got pretty decent options there. James Cook in itself, that's the guy I worry about the most because I don't know if he's getting the goal line carries. I know Miles Sanders is. I know David Montgomery is, but that's risky. It's risky. Draft Cowboys defense in 9.7. Okay. Round 9, pick 7. Let's say it's a 12-team league. I'm okay with that. I mean, look, if the Cowboys defense is as good as they have been the last 2 years, they'll probably score 170 points, which is as valuable as Darren Waller will probably be this year. So yeah, I'll take it at round 9. I mean, it's either that or you play matchups. And when you play matchups, you're going to have weeks where you have 3 points and weeks you have 13 points. But instead, at least if you have the Cowboys, you get 10 points a week. Sometimes you get a 22 bomb here and there because, Micah Parsons, strip, sack, fumble, someone picks it up, takes it to the house, and we're off and away. Henry Perkins says, Cardinals are going to be terrible. Oh, snap, Connor's available. Yeah. Listen, I didn't say anything about James Conner being bad. I said Marquise Brown's going to be bad. You're not listening, my man. Here's the thing. Just because the quarterback's changing doesn't mean this quarterback's not going to hand the ball off 20 times a game to James Conner. Like, who else are they going to hand the ball off to? Keontae Ingram? No, that's not going to happen. Like, James Conner is by far and away the clear 3-down back of this team. The last 2 seasons has seen a lot of significant opportunities in the receiving game. So they know he's capable of utilizing him there. They're going to, because they have, immobile quarterbacks. Even when Kyler comes back, I'm on the clock. I just realized it. Pat Fryer, Muth, David, Njoku. I'll just take Njoku, and then I'll let the clock reset there, and then we'll go after Penny, Warren, Samaje. Who's that wide receiver? Traylon. Don't like that. I guess Smith is, Juju is okay, but for now, of these available, we'll just take Samaje, and we'll see what happens kind of deal. Yeah, the thing about James Conner is that he's going to still get himself a ridiculous share of opportunity, man. Like, he really is, especially considering the last 2 years. I mean, last season, what were the Cardinals? They were a 4-12 team, or no, 4-13, right? They were a 4-13 team. They won 4 games. If they win 2 games this year, it's not going to make a difference. Like, they're still a bad football team last year and this year. It's not like he's getting less opportunity in those, in those circumstances. Let's see here. Moving on, we had a question from GK. We're good. 44. MSU 44 says 10-team league. I have Bijan Robinson, Barkley. That's crazy. Waddle, Ridley. That's even more ridiculous. Cooper, Pitts, Tua, and Daniel Jones. And you have Deontay Johnson off the bench, and Kenneth Walker, and Drake. Who are you drafting against, man? The rest of your league should have just donated the league fee to St. Jude's. Like, what are we doing? Like, you gotta. Who is drafting against you? You have a monster squad. Barkley and Bijan should never be on the same team. And then on top of that, Waddle and Ridley should not be on that same team with Bijan and Barkley. Like, what happened? What is going on? Congrats, man. You got a pretty good team there, MSU. Let's see here. Jack was asking in the chat, Browns defense or Eagles defense? I have the Browns in 2 leagues, Eagles on waivers in 1. Yeah, I'll take the Eagles defense. I mean, look, if you're looking to play matchups, I mean, ultimately, I have the Eagles defense ranked higher. Let's see here. NFL week 1. I know the Eagles, because of yesterday's stream, play against the Patriots. The Browns play against the Bengals. Yeah, I'll play the Eagles week 1 in comparison. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to make that swap, why not? Okay, let's see here. Any chance in Deshaun Watson finishing as a top 6 quarterback? I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility. I mean, if he shows up and balls out like we're kind of accustomed to with the old Deshaun Watson, if the old Deshaun Watson still exists and he's somewhere still in there, right? The guy that was dominating for this offense in Houston and consistently having great years of, 25 to 30 passing touchdowns a year, 500 rushing yards, and is able to somewhat accumulate that this year, yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could be a top 6 guy. Am I banking on it? No. Ravi says, how are you, Andrew? I'm doing good. Thank you, Ravi. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. In a 12-team full PPR league, I have Burrow, Diggs, Lamb, Higgins, Sanders, Swift, Kittle. Do I trade receiver for a running back? So your running backs are currently Sanders and Swift. You're asking if you should trade Higgins, Lamb, or Diggs, Higgins, or Lamb for a running back. If you were going to move Higgins for a running back, like you can see on screen, you see where Higgins is taken. If you can get Joe Mixon for Higgins, if you can make that exchange, I would. I do not mind it, because at this point, the risk that is implied with Swift is enough to scare me. I took Barkley and Henry over Barkley and Chubb, says Jeff. I think what you meant is you took Barkley and Henry over Chubb instead of Barkley Chubb. But yeah, I'm okay with that. Listen, hey, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I'm not going to tell you that the decision of Barkley and Henry over Chubb is objectively wrong, because this upcoming season, it could be right, and you would have done yourself a massive favor by making that decision. Let's see here. We took care of, okay, Joe Wilson sent in a question. Thank you very much, Joe. Says, in an 8-man league, half PPR, 1 flex, 3rd overall pick. Am I on the clock? No, I'm not good. 3rd pick, 1 flex. Is it wrong to go wide receiver in the 1st, or should I go hero tight end / RB? Which should also be a good strategy for picks 1 through 6. In an 8-man league, my total honest kind of interpretation as to how that draft is going to go, every team is going to finish out with an all-star squad. So it's just a matter of, are you getting the players you want? Like, are there players in specific that you're like, hey, I have to have them? Because ultimately, your whole roster is going to be stacked. You're going to have guys that are in that top 12 conversation for both running back, wide receiver, or tight end, or quarterback across your entire roster, probably at each position, to be honest. So with that being the case, if you have the 3rd overall pick and you plan on going McCaffrey or Chase, starting wide receiver or starting running back is perfectly fine. Going into the 2nd round, you're probably going to have the ability to take someone like Barkley, Henry, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra. You're probably going to have the opportunity of grabbing a stud of that caliber, which at that point, I mean, I'm all for it. All right, let's see what we have here. Devon A. Chain, we have Zay Jones, Jameson Williams, Kobe Myers, okay. Considering this is a best ball league, I'm going to start stacking up on tight ends that I kind of want to take advantage of, but let's see here. Let's do this for now. Nope, I want the Chigazim. I got him, nice. And then, considering I need a little bit more wide receiver depth. We'll come back to running back in a second. I'll take Zay Jones here. All right, cool. Let's put the draft board back up. Where are we at? So yeah, at this point, Joe, what my suggestion is, regardless of how you want to start, you're going to get studs every single round. So it's just a matter of, are you drafting the best available player? Because you're going to be given the opportunity to draft a lot of studs overall. So it's just a matter of, hey, do I want to build my roster on the back of getting Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes in the 4th round, third, fourth. I would probably say if this is a 16, 24 comes back, yeah, you probably wait till round 4 to make a quarterback selection at the earliest in this kind of a format. But that's kind of my thought process at the moment. All right, what do you think about the Pats defense? As a fantasy defense, I'm all in. I'm all in on it. Bill Belichick knows what he's doing. That's just, it's an objective fact. Now, when it comes to signing offensive players, Bill Belichick has no clue how an offense works. He has spent a lot of money the last couple seasons on guys like Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, and he has wasted millions of dollars in bringing in Jonnu Smith and just them all blowing up in his face, unfortunately. And that's just kind of the reality of it. Let's see here. How do you feel about Tua? Tua is my number 11 ranked quarterback right now in fantasy. So that's kind of where, dude, you got to stop, man. You got to stop. Brother, you got to stop, man. You got to stop. You don't need to be doing that anymore, man. Just let it be. Let it be. I'll get to your question in a second. We had a question that came in from Jay Saiyan, Mr. Super Saiyan himself. Kiorkof, what's up? Give me your thoughts on my squad. I'm in a half PPR 12-team league. Okay, cool. One flex. At the 9th pick, I have King Henry, A.J. Brown, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Rachaad White, like that, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson, David Montgomery, Charbonnet, Burks, Okonkwo, and Algier. Okay, so considering you were the 9th pick, getting Henry and A.J. Brown as a combo, boom, boom, half PPR, good to go. I mean, just right now, I could have gone A.J. Brown and thinking, the fact that you got A.J. Brown wow. I can't believe you got him in the 2nd, to be totally honest. So that's good to go in a half PPR. Additionally, you go ahead and you have Fields. You have DJ Moore on the stack. You have Rachaad White as that kind of flex option every single week, who has the receiving upside, who played all offensive first-team snaps with the Buccaneers the other day. I know that there is some kind of conversation that revolves around the potential of Sean Tucker, the undrafted free agent rookie that was signed to the organization, getting first-team reps. I think that speaks more to the fact that Keyshawn Vaughn and Chase Edmonds are I don't want to say that. They're not as good for fantasy purposes. And yeah, and I think Rachaad White's definitely great there. The fact that you have Deontay Johnson and Kirk coming off your bench and David Montgomery, you got the depth, man. You got the depth. And on top of it, you also got a stud quarterback. So there's no issue there at all. My only question is, who's your tight end? Okonkwo, huh? Man, as much as I like Okonkwo, having him as my number 1, just expect to be hurt. Because that's tight end, right? You're going to get your feelings hurt, whether it's week 1 or week 2. He's going to hurt you. But when he does, you just have to, you got to stay strong, man. Stay strong. That's all I got to say. Stay strong. Thank you, Saying. I appreciate it. iShine101 was saying, remember my yesterday about Montgomery, if I should start him in the flex, knowing if Gibbs is my RB1 and Stevenson as my RB2, Lions versus Chris Jones-less Chiefs, or put Herbert in the flex versus Green Bay defense? Man, that's a tough question. Green Bay defense, again, I talked about it yesterday. They are awful in terms of stopping the run, especially against Chicago. The amount of times I've benefited from starting David Montgomery against that defense in the last couple of years with Chicago in that matchup, Herbert could have a monster game. He could. Again, at this moment, I would probably still start both of those Lions running backs. Okay, where are we at here? Okay, so we're going into the 13th round. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to hop into another draft, and this will probably be the only other draft for today. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's go to drafts. We're going to go ahead and where are we at here? We're going to go NFL. We're going to go here. It's another one of these $3 leagues. Again, I'm going to create the custom league. Reminder, again, like I've said, if you guys want to go ahead and join us, you can do so today by clicking the link down in the description. Not only will you be able to draft alongside us, you'll be able to go ahead and get my 2023 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, the rankings every single week, every Sunday morning from my email to yours for the entirety of the season. All you got to do is use code Andrew, make that first time deposit. Obviously, additionally, you have to be eligible. The map on the left side of the screen determines your eligibility. You got to be 18 or older in these eligible states to go ahead. And in some of these states, you got to be 21 or older or 19 or older. Obviously, all these rules apply. But if you're eligible, go ahead, use the code, make that first time deposit, minimum of $10, and join us today. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys' support by using code Andrew. Really does go a long way. Let's go ahead. Let's click that. And then I'm going to drop that in the chat, and we should be ready to go in just a moment. Thank you, guys. We're going to go ahead and as a precursor, just to, let's see here. What do we have? 12 team. Okay. Kyle Strobel in the chat says, give me your honest opinion on Connor. Is he a solid RB2, or do you feel you're safer with Rashad White? Do I feel I'm safer with... Okay, this is what I'll say. I believe Connor has more upside than Rashad White. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. But I also believe that Connor's going to miss time this year because that's just Connor, right? It's nothing against him personally. It's just a matter of like, can he stay healthy? Typically, no. And even when he is healthy, when he's healthy, he's a monster. When he's not, he finds a way to like miss 2-3 games here and there. Is that going to happen 100% this year? No, probably not going to happen. I hope it doesn't. Please don't happen. But in terms of overall contributions, I think the upside that Connor presents, however long I'll be able to take advantage of it, is better than what Rashad White provides. How do you feel about the Bears backfield? You mean, how do I feel about Khalil Herbert? Nah. Him and Roschon Johnson are going to be interesting. I think Khalil Herbert has proven with his efficiency in the last couple years that, I mean, the guy averaged, what, the third highest yard after contact per attempt average, only behind Pollard and Ramondre last season. And then he had the most, I think he had one of the highest yard per carry averages amongst all backs in the league with like 100 minimum rushing attempts. I mean, he's a special player. Let's just put it that way. There's a reason why they didn't go ahead and bring in any other running back depth outside of, Deontay Foreman in free agency. Yes, you go and you draft the running back, and that's perfectly fine because, again, the running back market implies that you have to draft the running back every time you're on the clock in the NFL draft because you don't want to have to pay money to re-sign these guys. But Khalil Herbert sits in a pretty solid spot. Interestingly enough, we have the 4th pick. So hopefully for those of you who are asking about the 4th pick, we can kind of give you guys a demonstration. Speaking of past videos, Andrew thinks Khalil Herbert is a must draft. Yeah, I do. I think where he's currently going in terms of ADP, absolutely. I mean, well, how many weeks ago did I put out that video? Maybe it was 1 week, maybe a week and a half ago. At the time, his current ADP was pretty rock solid, but it could have gone up by now. But yeah, I do believe he's a player that I'd like to have at his current ADP. In comparison to the other running backs that are going throughout that range of time, like, where's the, let me see here. So that's that. Okay, that's fine. If I go to ranks and I look at his ADP compared to other running backs, I'm sure it's gone up. Let's see here. So Khalil Herbert is RB 32 off the board. So who would we rather have? Khalil Herbert, who could be the outright starter of his team, or guys like Antonio Gibson, Dillon, and Dalvin Cook? Like, at that ADP, I'm 100% willing to make the risk if there's implied risk. I mean, every selection has implied risk, but if you do believe that there's implied risk with Roschon Johnson taking a bigger role, I mean, that's fine, but I don't think that it's going to be an immediate transition to where Roschon Johnson's, digging into his work and on his heels, as others will think. So at his ADP, I'm all for it. Let's see here. Well, you took Diggs at 1.07, so that's a start. Where are we at? I think you're talking about somebody else, right, Dom? Dominic. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from ZJ or ZJ. ZJ. Where did it go? ZJ says at 1.07 in a full PPR with, okay, I'm on the clock, in a half PPR scoring format, and McCaffrey's still available. I'll take McCaffrey. Thank you. Let's see here. What was the question? At 1.07 in a full PPR with 2 flex in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, would you take Kelsey, Kupp, Diggs, or Bijan? Okay, full PPR. Of those available players, I'm taking Kupp. I'll even tell you my rankings right now. You guys can get these rankings if you go ahead and sign up today via Underdog Fantasy and use that promo code Andrew. Make that first time deposit of $10 minimum. You can get these rankings available, or you can find it on Patreon. There's a link also in the description there if you guys are interested. I have Kupp ranked the highest out of the group. I have Kelsey second. I have Diggs third, and I have Bijan fourth in a full PPR out of those players. Does New Jersey do it now? Underdog just tried 2 years ago and it wasn't available. I haven't tried since. Let's see. Listen, guys, I'm not the most geographically equipped player or human. Is New Jersey on this map gold or yellow? What is over there that is not highlighted? Someone tell me what the heck that is. What state is that? Is that Rhode Island? That might be Rhode Island, the really tiny one right there. And then what's this? Is that New Jersey? I don't know, guys. I haven't been on that side of the world. I got no clue, guys. Someone's got to tell me. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Thank you, ZJ. I appreciate it. We're going cup there. Mark Maloney says rank these three half PPR: Lamb, Wilson, Amon-Ra. Lamb, Amon-Ra, Wilson is my order. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question. Anadi in the chat was saying yes, I think it's available. Is it? Is that Connecticut? Really? Might be New Jersey. Someone's got to know. Someone's got to know, right? Someone's got to be able to look at the map and reference as to what that is. Uncle Neil says Cook will be better than Herbert. I mean, that's possible. I mean, look, here's the thing. Cook's got to catch a bunch of passes this year. And if he does, then he can be. But that's the thing, man. Are the New York Jets going to be the Green Bay Packers of the AFC? Are they going to dominate just with two running backs and just flourish with that? Because if they're going to, I mean, one of those two running backs is going to have to take a back seat. And if you're suggesting that he'll be better than Khalil Herbert, then maybe Breece Hall's taking the back seat. I don't know. iShine101 says Vikings O-line isn't that good. Madison isn't Cook, in my opinion. So until Kamara comes back, might struggle a bit. I think you're talking to somebody else. But I'll tell you, the Vikings offensive line. Oh, I'm on the clock. No, I'm not. Wait, did I already pick? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. The Vikings O-line may not be good in pass blocking, but I can assure you they're good at run blocking. In terms of overall DVOA, they weren't great last season, but again, schedule this year is as immaculate as it gets. I'll tell you that much. All right, so what is available on this board for me? Because I'm hoping. Man, I'm gonna have to. Oof. Okay. At this point, I wanted Josh Jacobs. He took it from me, and there in lines my pain. My pain. It hurts. Okay, I'm taking Calvin Ridley. I don't like taking Calvin Ridley in the second. I really don't, but at this point, I will. Let's see here. Mitch Vintage says, will Kupp stay healthy? That's the issue. Will Kupp stay healthy? I mean, look, last season he had a grade 3 ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, right? So is that going to happen again? No. Is his hamstring going to be an issue? Possibly. I don't know. I'll call Kupp tomorrow. I got his phone on speed dial. I think right now, 9:23. He's probably, relaxing with the family. I'll call him tomorrow. I'll ask Kupp personally, hey, are you going to get hurt this year? Are you going to stay healthy? And we'll see what he says, man. We had a question. Okay, we took care of that one. JT going to the Vikings? Woo! Dude, if JT goes to the Vikings, oh my goodness. That would be that'd be really fun. I'll just put it that way. That would be really fun. Full PPR Kupp or Tyreek Hill? Honestly, I have both of them in the same tier, but I prefer Kupp. Adams or Jacobs? Adams or Jacobs? Let me know. Depends, Cody. What is your scoring for, my man? I think in a full PPR, in a full PPR, I'd probably take Adams. In a half PPR, I'll take Jacobs. Do you think Pollard and Chubb was too high as 1.12 and 2.1? No. I think that's actually where you're supposed to get them at. I don't think that's too early of a pick. Not at all. Not in a half PPR, at least. Am I on the clock again? Beautiful. Wait. Oh, no. No. Let me just grab somebody. I don't care. Okay. Woo. Buzzer beater. I'll take it. Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. We take it. Okay. Woo. That could have been a disaster. I sniped Mark Andrews there. I really did. My goodness. All right. Back to the questions before I get distracted again. Wouldn't that mess up JJ? No, absolutely not. Listen, anything that happens in the rushing game is not going to impact guys like Justin Jefferson. I mean, let's think about it, right? Just because Jonathan Taylor's your starting running back doesn't mean you have to run the ball more than you did last year. Like not in any sort of capacity do you have to. So if we end up seeing Dalvin Cook's overall, spectrum of opportunity go in the direction of, again, this is all hypotheticals, right? if they were going to give a guy like Jonathan Taylor 300 touches, which is possible, and he scores 10 rushing touchdowns. Last season, Dalvin Cook had 10 total touchdowns, right? 8 on the ground, 2 through the air. It's not going to be crazy to see those things happen. And it's not going to impact Justin Jefferson because amongst all receivers last season, he had the most targets inside the 10-yard line. He had 19 of them. He had the second most targets in the red zone, only behind Kelsey. So, and now that Thielen's gone, a guy that scored 30 touchdowns in the last 3 seasons, 25 from the red zone, like it just opens up more for JJ. So I don't really imagine that being a problem. Imagine Dalvin Cook on the Vikings. Man, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would just be a match made in heaven, huh? Good one. Good one. I like that, Mr. Didi. Higgins has been slipping down a bit. Has he? I haven't noticed. Yeah, honestly, I fumbled. I probably, man, Christian Watson in the middle of the third before Jahmyr Gibbs? Really? Huh? Who's taking Jahmyr Gibbs? Where is he? Is he not off the board yet? This is the latest I've seen Gibbs go in a while, guys. That's interesting. I'll tell you that much. That's interesting. Why is this dude so high on Montgomery? Arj, have you not seen any of the videos? Man, I've posted like 10 videos talking about Montgomery. So if you haven't yet already, check those out. Greatly appreciate it. And again, if you want me to just like kind of like spark notes it, David Montgomery is signed to come in and play the Jamal Williams role. Like you don't bring him in if you're not going to, play him within that role, because they pretty much have found success with that 1-2 RB combination. The guy with the ground that is going to do all the dirty work, and then the guy that's going to slice you up in the passing game and then make the big plays. So overall, I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's a ridiculous start. Pollard, Chubb, Allen, and Gibbs. So the assumption is David Montgomery's the primary goal line back, and just like Dan Campbell said, we need a running back that we can trust giving the ball 20 times to 25 times a game, and that's Montgomery. And then we need a guy that can be the scalpel of this offense, that can slice up a defense. That's exactly his quotes. And he said that's Jahmyr Gibbs. So the assumption is that if Montgomery's filling in for Jamal Williams' role, and Jamal Williams was RB8 last season, why isn't Montgomery going to be great? I mean, he's a better football player than Jamal Williams. I'll tell you that much outright. I'll take Dobbs over Watson. TMP, I don't mind that. I mean, again, that's the same conversation I literally had with Tyler Lockett over DK Metcalf, and people are still roasting me because of it. Like, we get it. We get it. Like, the whole idea is in comparison with the ADP that, where did DK go, by the way? Yeah, look, 29. Based on ADP, would I rather have Watson in the 3rd or Joshua Dobbs in the 11th? Maybe I'll just take Dobbs there and I'll be happy. Like that's the whole concept. Bodie Derby, what's up, man? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, Bodie. Says in a tame team, full PPR. Hold up, I'm on the clock. I gotta be awake for this one. Aaron Jones available? Don't take Aaron Jones. Whatever you do, don't do it to me. You already got a running back, right? You got Jacob. He's gonna take Aaron Jones. He's gonna do it to me. He's gonna do it. I know you can't hear me. There's a delay on the chat. There's no way, but he's gonna do it. This is a good start though. Cup into Jacobs into DK. I want it. He took Aaron Jones. By the way, this is a good start, guys. Can you guys see this on screen? No, I'm in the way. I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm on the clock. Anyway, Mike Williams, Drake London. Do I want to wait on running back? Yes, I do. Do I want a quarterback? Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert in this round? Nah, we'll just wait. Let's take Mike Williams. So yeah, what I was saying was specifically this team right here next to me, Cup, Jacobs, DK, Aaron Jones. I like that start a lot. That's a start that I can like. If he doesn't yoink Josh Jacobs in front of me, I probably take him here and then I go wide receiver in the 3rd and then I'll figure it out in the 4th. But that is a pretty juicy way to go. Dan Campbell pounds the rock. I mean, that's the whole point. That's entirely what that offense is predicated on. They have what? 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, 1 All-Pro pretty much with Penei Sewell at the right tackle. I mean, if anything, it could be argued they have 3 All-Pro, or not 3 All-Pro, 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen. Like they're one of the best in terms of pounding the rock, to say the very least. Okay, so Bodie, your question was PPR. You have Burrow, Diggs, Higgins, D-Hop. Am I on the clock again? Bodie, every time I'm on the clock, You got a question, man. Or I got to answer your question, man. Sorry. What's going on with the running back? I'm going to wait on running back. I have McCaffrey. I'll take another peek at running back later. I'm probably going to take someone like Joe Burrow before these quarterbacks get absolutely rinsed and it comes back to me and I'm depressed. Okay, moving on. So where are we at here? Bodie, we're here. We got you. PPR, Burrow, Diggs, Higgins, D-Hop, Deontay, Kelsey, Madison, Sanders, Kamara, McKinnon, Boyd, Charbonnet. What do you think I can improve on? I mean, look, in terms of improvements, purely, the biggest thing you need improvements on is running back. Because you obviously prioritized Diggs, Higgins, Kelsey, Burrow as your top picks. So the fact that, yes, you need to improve on running back doesn't mean you're making trades to improve them. You're going to hope that Sanders, Madison, Kamara can elevate your team into the conversation of being stable running backs. And by all intents and purposes, I think they all can be RB2s with upside. So really, there's not anything you're specifically looking to improve on. You've just made your bet as such, and I like it. I mean, I think it's a pretty good way to approach a draft. Andrew is the Gandalf of fantasy football. So that means when we go into the dungeon of... not the dungeon. When we go into Moria, when we go into the mines of Moria, right? Because we want to take a shortcut instead of hitting up the mountains. When we go into the mines of Moria, when I'm on the bridge and you guys are running off, I'm the one taking the fall, huh? Is that what you're implying? No, I'm just kidding. But I'll take the fall for you guys. That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind being the punching bag, and I don't mind being the guy that if your season goes wrong, you blame me. First time watching you, you look like a guy that knows what he's talking about. Subscribe. Thanks, Arch. This is the first time you're watching me? Then how did you know I was so high on Montgomery, bro? Because if you haven't seen any of my content, I don't know how you would get the implication that I would be high on Montgomery. That's crazy. I mean, maybe that was an inference, or maybe I said something that I wasn't paying attention to, but yeah. You sniped Burrow from me? Sorry, Eric. I had to. It looked too prime. I mean, the draft before, all these quarterbacks went super early, so I was like, hey, if I get a chance to grab one of these top tier players, I might as well. Amazing analogy. Yeah, I would hope that's going to be the case. I would hope so. I've watched enough Lord of the Rings in my life that I feel comfortable making those kind of analogies. All right, let's see here. Joey Herbert in the chat was saying, I'm in an 8-man full PPR league. I feel like Chase McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill will fall to me at third. What do you think is the better choice? Joey, what's your scoring for, my man? Let me know. TMP says yes so that we win. Yeah, okay, that's fine. As long as I take the fall so y'all can win some championships, that's all I care about, literally. I care about your guys' team's success more than I care about mine. I could give a shit about what my teams do this year. They're irrelevant in the grand scheme. I'm all for the cause, guys. I'm all for the cause. All my efforts are literally here so that we can win as much as possible, because football comes once a year, and if your team sucks, it is an absolute disaster. I mean, the days get dark early, and it's tough to kind of roll from fall into winter and just have a terrible fantasy team. I can't live with it. I want you guys to succeed. Okay, so we have a bunch of questions here with a lot of context. Okay, we have like 6 in a row that have a bunch of context. So here we go. Ready? One at a time. Jeff in the chat says, hey, Andrew, love your content. I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you. Been watching for 4 years. Can you rate my 10-team full PPR league? You've been watching for 4 years, huh? How about that, man? This is year 6, guys. Year 6. Can you imagine that? Started since 2018. Woo! Come a long way. 4 years. Okay, 10-team full PPR. Am I on the clock yet? Almost. We have Tua, Barkley, Henry, Ridley, Amari Cooper, Mark Andrews, Madison, and MT, and Lockett and Geno. Wow. Okay, we got a squadron there. Did you just take Kittle in front of me like that? Man, that's brutal. I have Mark Andrews. What am I talking about? I'm losing my mind over here. We have Akers available, and we have James Conner, and we have Kamara. Okay, cool. So what are the teams to the left of me done? You guys need running backs? You have 2, you have 2, you have 1. So oh goodness. I'm assuming one of you are going to yoink a running back, so I might as well just get Akers now before one of you guys do it to me. So in terms of your question, you have Barkley, Henry. Already you're in a pretty good spot. Ridley, Then additionally on top of it, you have Amari Cooper. So you have a top 12, and then you have a little bit of a lesser wide receiver too. That's fine. But then you have a top 2 tight end, a top 12 quarterback, really good depth with Lockett and Madison. No complaints. No complaints at all. In a 10-team league, I would hope. I mean, I don't know what was available when you grabbed Amari Cooper, but yeah, I'm actually curious. What else was the alternative there? Damn, he took James Cook. I'm glad I took Cam Akers then. Okay. Trey Weezy says, full PPR, 12-team league. I have Watson, Madison, Connor, Diggs, St. Brown, Hawkinson, Waddle, and Kamara. On my bench, Kamara on my bench. Where did I go wrong from the 7th spot? Where did you go wrong? I mean, I can't objectively say you went wrong. Again, you went Diggs and St. Brown in the first 2 rounds. That's a solid start. Then you were able to get Waddle. I don't know how. I mean, what is that? 12-team league, full PPR. You get Diggs, St. Brown, and Waddle? How? That's got to... Somebody was sleeping at the wheel, right? Did you guys all just take running back just to spite me? So, I don't know how you did that. But congratulations, firm handshakes. So, outside of that, being able to still be able to get running backs of Madison's caliber, Kamara and Connor, to fill in your running back slots, get an elite tight end at the top 3 capacity, still get Deshaun Watson, I have no problem with it at the 7th spot at all. Carlos R. Thank you, Carlos, for the super chat. Says 10-team full PPR. Justin Herbert, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, great start. Joe Mixon, love it. Jonathan Taylor, okay, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's hope he gets traded. If he gets traded to the Cowboys, guys, I'm not going to even say it. I don't want to put it out in the universe. We're just going to leave it at that. Jonathan Taylor, David Njoku, and I think the Cowboys learned not to pay a running back. I think they learned that from Zeke. But anyway, so I don't think they're going to trade for him. David Njoku, Sanders, Lockett, Montgomery, Judy. What are your thoughts? I mean, is it lagging? In terms of your depth, so the fact that you get Diggs and A.J. Brown, right? Boom, boom. Already you have an advantage. Tight ends, I don't need it. Wide receiver, I like George Pickens a lot, but I like Mike Evans more. I'll probably go Mike Evans there. Do I need a running back? Rashad White is available. I kind of think I need running back, but can I get wide receiver depth later on that I'm happy with? I think I can. I think I'm going to take the running back here, and then I'll come back for a wide receiver later. Okay, so where were we at? So in terms of your overall team, the fact that you prioritize wide receiver, get an early running back with Joe Mixon, which is great, top 12 capacity, top 10 in my mind. Justin Herbert with a top 7-8 quarterback. Jonathan Taylor, again, is the coin toss. At least you have Lockett and Montgomery. Or sorry, you have Sanders and Montgomery to fill in for Taylor if he's going to miss any sort of extraneous amount of time. And then you have Lockett with depth at wide receiver. I think it's a solid team. But the thing is, the biggest issue with your team, Carlos, Taylor and Judy. You're waiting on Judy. He'll sit in on the IR, but you're also waiting on Taylor, who could be in an IR spot if he gets placed on the pup. So yeah, that's the biggest risk. JP in the chat says, I'm in a 1 QB league, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 4 flex league, half PPR. I have the 1.01. I'm going to go Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey. Or no, you're saying, do I go Jefferson? I would go Jefferson. If I go with McCaffrey, I can stack up with wide receivers for the rest of the draft, or take Jefferson and get some late RB value on Yahoo. I believe it is the better decision to take Justin Jefferson first overall. So I would suggest you do that and implore whatever potential strategy you want to do with that. But if you want to go separately, you want to go McCaffrey, go for it, man. You got the first pick, so you get to determine how this draft is kind of unfolded from your point of view. Let's see here. We had Tay Win, I'm assuming that's how we pronounce the last name. Tay Win says, I started a 12-man full PPR league with Bijan Robinson at 1.07. In the second round, would have taken Henry or slightly reached for Waddle / Olave. In the second round, would you take Henry or reach for Waddle and Olave? In a full PPR league, I think I take Henry there. I'm going to be honest. Where's my full PPR rankings? We have Henry. Yeah, I have Henry ahead of Waddle. A couple spots, but I do. I certainly have him over Olave. Pollard, Wilson, and Amon-Ra gone all before my pick. Yeah, I would have taken Henry. I'm going to be honest. I think Henry probably outscores Waddle this year and Olave. Now, if you're looking for wide receiver depth and you're like, hey, I can get running back depth later, I'll just take the Waddle now. I could understand. I could justify that. But I think I start with a double RB. But I'm kind of one of those old heads in the idea that I'm so built in on, hey, I want running back depth because I need studs that are going to carry me. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. JT might go to Miami. That's the I guess the overall highest likelihood, considering they've wanted running back for so long. They were trying to get in on the Dalvin Cook sweepstakes. Unfortunately, did not pan out. All that kind of jazz. So we'll see. Where are we at here? iShine says, I've been here for 5.5 years. I won twice. Thank you very much. Congratulations, man. Hold on, wait. You've been here for 5.5 years and you've only played in 5 leagues? You only play 1 league per season? Wait, how many of you? Okay, hold up. I gotta do. Hold up. Wait. We're doing a poll in the chat real quick. Am I almost on the clock? How many leagues, not counting best ball, do you play in? I'm on the clock. Brian Robinson goes. That's fine. I want wide receiver. Quentin Johnston. Okay, cool. Cortland Sutton. Sky Moore. We'll just take Jack. I already have. No, I'll take it. Whatever. Let's go for it. Let's let it ride. Even if he misses a couple weeks, I can live. I'll take another wide receiver probably on the way back just to kind of ensure the depth there. 1, 2, 3, or actually let's go 1, 2, 5 plus. Let's go here. Let's do like this. I'm actually curious, guys. So I posted the the poll. How many leagues do you play in, not counting best ball? 1, 2, 3, or 4 or higher. I couldn't put a fourth option. I would have put like 4. I would have put 1, 2, 3, 5 or more, and then 10 or more, and just kind of figured it out from there. Elijah Moore. Okay, cool. We'll see what happens. We took care of that. Parks in the chat says, would you trade Bijan and Mike Williams for Garrett Wilson and Calvin Ridley? No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I think Bijan Robinson is so good, man. He's going to be so good. Joey Herbert says, Andrew, it's a standard PPR league. I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Joey, that's all I was asking because I want to know. Because your question is, in an 8-man PPR league, I feel Chase McCaffrey, okay, who do you feel is the best choice? Yeah. So I just wanted to know what your scoring format was, because if you played a full PPR, I'll take Chase there. Yeah, that's what I would go with. Thank you. Let's see here. Brian says, I'm an 8, just got to use Excel, work smarter, not harder. The fact that you're just, yeah, that's funny. I like that. I like that, man. Am I on the, wait, I just got, bro, I guess we got Marquise Hollywood Brown on the team, guys. That's great. That's just perfect. Just perfect. All right. So what we're going to do real quick, I'm going to go ahead and switch screens real quick. Let's go to the big board. I want to go ahead and do that really quickly. Couple more things I also want to do just to go ahead and remind y'all. Besides using code Andrew, subscribing to the channel, all that kind of jazz. Again, like as you guys can see on screen as to what I'm wearing, most recently we've dropped the official 1.01 brand, the official merchandise line of the Andrew Kiorkof YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet. Again, we'll travel over to the website right now. I know it's pinned down in the description of the video along with in the chat. If you guys haven't checked it out, again, put a lot of time and a lot of effort into trying to, well, that's not the right screen. Let's go ahead and let me get the other display capture here. There it is. Spent a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to put together high quality clothing. Greetings and salutations, fantasy football, Andrew Kiorkof. If this is something that interests you guys, you can travel on over to the website and, you know, whether it's bucket hats, ball caps, you know, hoodies like the one that I'm currently wearing, all this kind of jazz, all of it available at this current moment in time via AndrewKiorkofShop.com. So if you're interested, travel on over, cop a piece of the merch, support the channel in that regard. And of course, if you end up copying it and you end up getting it, tweet it at me, tag me on Instagram, and I'll be able to answer some fantasy questions for you over the course of the year. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. let's go ahead. Let's hop back over here, and then let's see what we have. Let's pull this down. What do we got in terms of questions? We had retro. We had Tommy and retro. So 30% of you guys play in one league. That's it, guys. I'm gonna be totally honest, okay? For those of you who play in one league, please play in more. The reason why, okay? Maybe, let's just put it out there. Maybe you have a really busy schedule and you're like, listen, Andrew, I can't manage more than one league. I can barely manage one. I understand it, but just have a second league just in case. The first one is ACL after ACL and it goes to a disastrous level of destruction. Because then at that point, your team is done, right? If there are, I mean, there are ways to kind of recover from free agency, but like last year when Cooper Kupp went down and he was out, how did you recover from that? Unless you had someone on roster that wasn't someone on the Rams to pick up to play in his stead. Like there are going to be situations where you could be burnt. So that's why I'm saying just play more fantasy football. It's always going to be fun. Tommy Connor sent in a question, said in a 10-team full PPR league, Andrew, I went McCaffrey, Ridley, Waddle. I like the start. JT, Fields, Madison, Evans, Lockett, Freiermuth, Mostert, Tua, Addison, and Boyd. Thoughts? Trade suggestions. Trade suggestions. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor's not playing early on in the season, at least you have Madison, which you're fine with. You also have Mostert, who's okay to kind of like roll in if something happens to injury-wise. Otherwise, you're waiting for him to return. Honestly, I think you probably have to wait, Tommy. And then if Evans and Lockett have really good weeks early in the season, you move one of them via trade and you make a package deal and try to get a better running back if Taylor's not back by then. That's my immediate thoughts. RetroFed says, I play in one league. He says one league only for betas. Oh, come on, man. That's not okay. That's I think we're going overboard here because think about it, right? If you play in one league, the whole idea is you got all the marbles in one basket. So what it actually means, if you just play in one league, it means you're tough as nails. That you're like, you know what? I am literally willing to have the balance of my entire next 6 months in one singular league. So what does that mean? I'm actually the tougher human because I'm willing to take the pain and suffering that this roster that I draft is going to provide, and I have no other outlet for fantasy support. I have this league or it's over. That's not for betas. That is for absolute chads. That is what that's for. I'm telling you, man. That is some Giga Chad mentality going for one league. I'll tell you. iShine says, I'm in 5 redraft leagues with friends and associates. I'm not in any best ball or underdog leagues. Okay, got it. I mean, hey, 5 leagues, we'll take it. That's good. More because you have a higher chance to win. Yeah, I mean, that's of course. If you play in 100 leagues, you're going to win one of them. It's accuracy by volume, right? If I go draft 150 best ball teams, accuracy by volume. One of those teams is going to hit the magic 8 ball and just completely unlock and be the monster squad, right? So accuracy by volume. You want to draft as many teams as possible while on top of it, diversifying your roster so that you're not, I don't have David Montgomery on every team because if David Montgomery blows out his knee game 1, my season's done if I have him on every team, right? So like you got to diversify in that regard as well. Okay. Where are we at? Kiorkof, great advice. Swai support. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it. Where are we at? React says, wait, these are actually sick. Hey, brother, hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold up. Andrew, wait. Hold up, my brother. You shouldn't have said that. Now we got to hold up. Hey, we're going back to AndrewKiorkofShop.com just to go ahead and check it out once again. Again, listen, I've worn these over the course of the last couple of days. Let me hold up. Andrew's going to leave the screen. Again, whether you want it, okay, black or navy, you can choose, right, for this one. For the orange writing in specific, right? The size guide's here if you're looking for a specific size. Additionally, the combo that I like that often is kind of like, this is the combo right here. The yellow with the black. I'm telling you. I mean, look, if you're looking for like Chiefs colors, maybe you're like a Chiefs fan, like this is it, right? The yellow and, but anyway, like I'm just saying, just putting it out there. I think the navy with the white text, pretty cool. That's kind of that's what I have. At least that's what the one I wear. But I mean, yeah, these are, like I've said before, these are all Champion branded hoodies. So we know they're high quality. That's the thing. Like, I mean, you could see the little Champion logo right there. I've shown you guys on video before, but oh, it's right there. You see it, Champion. These are some really good stuff, guys. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So if you guys want to, it is within your means of your lifestyle. You want to continue to support the channel in this regard, I'd be greatly appreciative of it. Again, there are other things besides the hoodies. There's long sleeve tees. I don't know where the hats are. I gotta somehow, I talked about this yesterday. I know we have ball caps. It's just, they're hidden on like page 2 or something. There they are. The 1.01 brand, all that kind of jazz. Thank you very much. Okay, moving back. Someone said it, so you guys gave me the full reign to go after it. Okay, guys, we've been here for almost 2 hours. I started at 8 o'clock PST. We're gonna close. What's the biggest size? So the biggest size for the tie-dye hoodies is 2X. The biggest size on these hoodies is, I believe, 3X. So I wear an XL in all of them. And I'm a bigger guy. I'm a 6'1", 270-pound dude, right? So ultimately, I'm wearing XLs. Just putting that into perspective, okay? So, you know, put it out there. That pretty much covers it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. A couple more questions. We're going to be leaving at in about 8 minutes. We're going to close shop here. Hopefully, I'll be back tomorrow for another live stream. We can keep it in 3 days in a row. Imagine that streak. I don't know if I've ever done that on this channel. 3 days in a row. Actually, no, we have. We usually do 3 days in a row late in the season because there's Saturday and Sunday games. So we usually do 3 days in a row. We'll do like Saturday stream, Sunday stream, then Monday night football stream. Anyway, couple more questions. Andrew, did you ever get into Top Shot sports NFTs? No, I don't know what. What is Top Shot's like cards, like collectibles? No, I never got into that kind of stuff. Could be cool, but yeah, that's not something that I've gotten into in the past. How do you feel about Najee Harris with Jalen Warren starting to eat into some of his workload? I still think, like I mentioned it a little bit earlier, B Normie. I think it's very reminiscent of the Melvin Gordon, Jalen Warren days. The Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler days, back with the Los Angeles Chargers, where we had two functioning backfield participants. And even though Austin Eckler got himself his receiving work, he siphoned a couple rushing attempts, Melvin Gordon was still relevant because he found all the goal line work. He still got himself a sprinkler receiving work and was still the better running back on the team. That's kind of how I envision this offense. Bro, you're not 270? Listen, brother, I've been lifting, dog. I've been lifting. Yeah, look, here's the thing. A 270 on me looks a lot different than a 270 on another person because of how tall I am. So it looks different. You look 210? Bruh. 210? Listen, I haven't been 210 since I was in the 8th grade, buddy. What are you talking about? I'm a big boy. Yeah, I seriously, I was about 200 in the 8th grade. Yeah, that's what I remember at least. But that wasn't that long ago. You like 225, brother? I mean, I wish I was 225. Listen, you know, it is what it is. I've been 225 before. And then I gained it all back. That's happened in the past. Okay, a couple more questions. Definitely not an athlete. Says I love that name, by the way. JJ and Sky for Ridley and CeeDee Lamb. Wow. Justin Jefferson and Sky Moore for Ridley and CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if I'm equipped to answer that question at the moment. Wow. So you're saying, hey Andrew, would you trade the 1.01 for like a 9th round pick for a 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick? Oh wow. I think I would, actually. I think I would. Champ Blue Ace, huh? Samurai Champ Blue. Full PPR 12-team league, 2 flex. I'm at the 5 spot. Hill plus Waddle plus Tua or Cup and Waddle. Hill, Waddle, Tua or Cup and Waddle. It depends. Do you think that the Miami Dolphins are going to light up the league? If you have a a feeling about it, Champloo, and you're like, hey, the Miami Dolphins are gonna torch the league, you buy in. Otherwise, you can go with the alternative route. But I'm kind of excited about the Lions. I mean the Dolphins. I think they could figure it out. Eyeshine says I'm 6'4", 288. Yeah, I think honestly, I mean if you're 6'4", 2X could work, but I'm wearing an XL. I don't know. Check out the size guide. I think that'll probably give you a better indication. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. 208th grade is kind of crazy, Andrew. Is it though? Is it? No, it's not crazy. Listen, brother. 208th grade in the 8th grade I was probably like 5'10". I was a big boy. We were moving bodies back then. Okay? I wasn't allowed to play football because I was too big. But you can see me on the courts. I was playing basketball, man. There's a reason why I made the high school basketball team. I was moving bodies in the paint. I'll tell you that much. Let's see here. My arms are long, 34 inches. Okay, thank you. Listen, use the size guide, brother. Use the size guide. Should I package Christian Kirk and Javonte Williams for Ramondre Stevenson? Should I package Christian Kirk and Javonte Williams for Ramondre Stevenson? Yes, I'm down. I don't know if you have the depth to be able to sustain that, buddy, but I'll take it. Joseph says, should I draft RB wide receiver, or wide receiver, RB wide receiver in the first 3 rounds? Depends on who's available. I'm always going to suggest, Joseph, that you go with best available player. If that happens to be one of those given routes, roll with it. What's up, Abdullah? I hope you're doing well, man. Ted says, bro, it's crazy. Anywhere except America. Yeah, anywhere. Wait, what do you mean anywhere except America? What are we talking about, Ted? Do you have dynasty rankings? Luca, I do not. Unfortunately, I spend all of my time on redraft. So if you're looking for redraft advice, stuff like that, I would say stick around, subscribe. But for dynasty advice, I'm sure there's other content creators out there that can help you in that regard. These guys saying 200 in the 8th grade are the ones that were 110 in the 8th grade. I mean, I guess that's probably right. I mean, I don't know. Listen, man, that's just it. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. We're keeping it moving. All right, guys. We're going to close out stream right now. I'm going to answer like 5 more questions because now we're just talking about Andrew's weight. I do appreciate you guys complimenting though. I've tried to change the lifestyle. We'll see, man. It's funny though. I'm gonna leave this live stream right now and I'm gonna go straight to the kitchen and grab an ice cream bar. So we'll see what happens. Chigoziem, Okonkwo, Musgrave, or Laporta at tight end. I prefer Chigoziem, Okonkwo 1, Laporta 2, and Musgrave 3. Check out my tier list video for more context. AGZ, thank you. You would have been the next GOAT tight end in high school? The next GOAT tight end? What are you talking about? Brother, I have a cannon of an arm. I should have played QB in high school. I shouldn't have played offensive defensive line. Brother, I would have cooked that quarterback, man. I've said it before in the past that I could throw a ball 50 yards. I still can. And people doubt it. I got a cannon of an arm. Hey, Andrew, I'm in a 12-team full PPR. I have Deshaun Watson, Henry, Taylor, Madison, Pierce, Hall, Jefferson, St. Brown, Gabe Davis, Addison, Kincaid, and Aaron Rodgers. Thoughts? So considering you have Taylor, again, that's sketchy point. We're going to see what happens tomorrow, but you still have other depth. You have Henry, Madison, Pierce, Hall. So you're set there. You have Jefferson and St. Brown. That should be illegal in a 12-team league. I don't know what you're doing there. That should be illegal. How? No. But actually, though, how do you have Jefferson? That's got to be a different Jefferson, right? That's not Justin Jefferson, right? John, if you can clarify that, that'd be great. B Normie says Super Bowl prediction. I have a video for that, so I'm not going to get it out yet. Not yet. Jake Ferguson, tight end 1. That'd be crazy, huh? Is it possible? I'd say there's like a 15% chance that happens. If it does, we're not totally surprised. I mean, Dalton Schultz did it for the last 2 years, right? Let's see here. Thanks. No problem, AG. Brett McDonald says in a 12-team full PPR, I have Justin Herbert. I have Rashad White. Getting offered Joe Burrow and DeAndre Swift. I have Quentin Johnston to stack with Herbert, but also Mixon as my RB2 behind McCaffrey. Do I prefer Burrow more than Herbert enough to where I prefer the potential of Swift over? Oh, wow. Brett, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say I'll take the deal. It's sketchy. It is objectively sketchy, but I'll take the Burrow side. Does that mean that you have to do it? No. I just, in my realm, I think I'm kind of leaning towards it. Dre Play says I'm in a 10-team full PPR. Sorry, I'm in the 10th spot in a 14-team half PPR. I've been mocking with Diggs, then stacking them up with Allen on the turn. Thoughts? If you're the 10th pick, right? 14 goes, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Allen may be a little early for 19 in my books, for my blood, but I've seen it happen and still find success. I don't mind the stack there, especially if you're just trying to secure a top tight end, but for my blood, it's a little rich. 2 QB Superflex mock draft. Man, look, here's the thing. As much as I'd like to, it's just people don't love it as much as I do. It's so unpopular for some reason. Superflex or 2 QB leagues are the most competitive leagues in fantasy. Y'all, and when I say play in another league besides the one you guys play in a 2 QB league. I'm telling you, man, it'll change your life. Benny G says, love the work. Go. I appreciate it, Benny. All the way out there from Australia, man. I appreciate it. Do I go Dak, Tua, Jones, or Richardson in a full PPR? I prefer Dak. That's kind of my that's where I'm leaning out of the bunch. All right. Ice Cube. Yeah, there you go. Atta baby. Okay, guys. It's over 10. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I appreciate y'all continuing to support the channel. Again, click the like button down below. I'll be back tomorrow around probably same time, 8 o'clock PST. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm cueing the music, and I'll see you guys. Thank you, everybody. Peace and later. Good night.